The challenge for us was we had bought the tooling dies and molds, like you said, these buckets of things that it took to make a pedal, some stands, and that was it. We had no money to do anything new. So we had to sit down every year and think of, look at a bass. John would walk by my office sometimes and say, how long can you stare at that friggin' bass drum pedal? I said, well, I'm just looking at things we can do to change it, improve it, talking to other drummers. What can you do with the tooling dies and molds? We have a bass drum pedal. Well, you can make a double pedal. That was like the huge thing for us. We were the first company to make a double pedal that really worked. We made an electronic pedal. We made a practice pad type pedal. So we did everything you could out of what we owned until we got to the point where we actually made enough money to where we could order some tooling dies and molds and do things a little bit differently. This was the gist of another classic Lombardi ad and catalog. Basically, it just shows all the things that we did that made our pedal different. We even put a felt in the spring. Jim Keltner called, lifetime friend. I've known Jim since we were teenagers, and he was having his bass drum pedal mic'd from the pedal side, if you remember this.
The bass drum head was mic'd.
Yeah, and he was hearing a buzz in the spring because when they'd hear the playback, he says, any way you can get the buzz out of the spring? I said, well, we can put a felt in it. And that was the example of what I was speaking about earlier. If we did something for one drummer, probably there's 10 drummers in the world that would ever have that problem, but let's do it for everybody. So if we solve the problem for the best drummer in the world, for Neil Peart, for Jim, for Terry Bozzio, here's a guy who challenged us on top of challenges on top of challenges. A lot of those things became generic advantages that we put into the product that we made for everybody. We added some cymbal stands to the mix too. Boom stands were new in those days.
They were.
I mean, it was like you didn't have to have a boom stand because you had a 4 or 5 piece kit, but only when the bigger kits came out did people. We took a microphone stand and we put a cymbal at the end of it, and we took a regular stand and made our own version of a boom stand.